IDC Dale Gatefold 33 here to do a quickish, I think, finds video. Slightly different. This one is a couple of CDs and some 7-inch singles EPs that I picked up recently. So I just thought I'd show those for a bit different. I've got LPs, albums to show as well, but I'll do that in a different video. So yeah, so just a couple of used CDs. So I was at the record fair in Winchester on Record Store Day, I think it was, must have been, yeah, and I picked up a few CDs. Someone was doing CDs half price, and they had some soundtracks, and picked up one. Well, I picked up several, but of one I played, I just played that the other day, so I just thought I'd show it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic, the Bullet soundtrack. I've been after this on vinyl, but yeah, nice to find. Nice to find. As I say, there are a few other soundtracks there as well that I picked up. So they're end up being about £3 each, which is quite good. Yeah, so the other day at a car boot sale, somebody had a box of CDs, and they I was looking at them and they said, oh, you can have the lot for £3. So it was about 30 CDs, so 10 pence each. It was all, I mean, I didn't have a lot of interest because it was stuff that I kind of knew I didn't like back in the day, but thought, maybe I like it second time round. But actually I didn't. So it was like Prodigy, Chemical Brothers, quite a lot of hip hop and stuff like that. There was some Metallica and Nirvana albums. You know, most of their studio albums there, which kind of I filled some gaps in my CDs for those. And yeah, there was almost like the complete, sort of like 7 or 8 Beastie Boys albums, which I thought, oh well, I like the sampling stuff. Let's go back and see if I like it, but I didn't. Apart from this I never knew about this. Was this? So the In Sound from Way Out, instrumental music composed and performed by the Beastie Boys. So yeah, so this is a number of jazz instrumental tracks that they recorded. So it's purely instrumental jazz. So really enjoyed this. So I didn't really know it existed. It's comp. But yeah, so that was in amongst it. So yeah, the rest is gone back in I've just done a car boot sale today. I went for the first one certainly first one this year. I've been selling at the car boot sale. So yeah, I had to load the car up at 6 o'clock this morning with boxes of records, and then stand there and then put them back in the car and bring them home. I did sell quite a few, so that was quite good. Record CD and 7-inch. Anyway, I was also at a car boot sale again 2 or 3 weeks ago, and somebody had a box of singles. They had about 60 singles in, and they were all in mostly in original company sleeves, early 60s pop, and I got, not earth shattering, no beat, psych, soul. It was all fairly sort of lightweight pop stuff. But he said, again, he said a tenner for the box, 60 singles. The vinyl was all lovely shape. A lot of the sleeves were in nice shape. Some were a little bit tatty. So I've picked out 10 here. I've cleaned up and listened to about half of them. I've got another half of them to go, but I think I picked out the first ones I picked out were the ones that I was most interested in. There's a lot that I've never heard of and probably won't enjoy. But yeah, I picked out 10 here. There was nothing earth-shattering in there. The first one was probably the most interesting. So this is it's Carmen McRae with the Dave Brubeck Quartet doing Take 5. So it's Dave Brubeck, obviously quite famous for Take 5, doing it with Carmen McRae doing a vocal over it, and it's it's really enjoyable. So that was nice. I'm into my Bond, so there was a picture sleeve from Russia with Love, with the James Bond theme on the other side on Ember. I wasn't familiar with the Ember label. Nice to pick up a picture sleeve. It's got a bit discoloration on the top, but other than that, that's nice. And another John Barry, The Human Jungle. The John Barry, the John Barry 7 and Orchestra. So I don't know what that means. John Barry 733. Yeah, so it's quite, so it is slightly different. It's non-Bond, but you can tell John Barry's sound on most things. Yeah, so I recently bought the Blu-ray of the recent Edgar Wright film, Lost Last Night in Soho. Sort of a kind of, I don't know, a horror noir from Soho from the '60s. Quite enjoyable film. I like his films. And I like his soundtracks. So and there were a couple of Scylla tracks in there. So I picked these up. I need to, so first there's two tracks that were in the film. Scylla, You're My World, and Anyone Who Had a Heart. I need to find this company sleeve for that, but Anyone Who Had a Heart and You're My World, so I thought I'd pick those up. Yeah, there were several Tornadoes tracks. Some of them were pretty yeah, pretty not to my taste, or not to my taste at all. Yeah, fairly feeble instrumentals. I think a Robot and I forget what they were, Globetrotter, I think. Weren't very enjoyable. Telstar obviously is the hit by the Tornadoes, and it feels like they've kind of then tried to replicate something similar to that. And this one wasn't too bad though. Exodus wasn't too bad, with a sort of live Blackpool rock on the B side. Yeah, and then this is a sort of, I don't know, a little bit of a sort of, this is amusing to listen to every now and again. It's quite interesting. So yeah, it's Richard Harris, MacArthur Park. So yeah, a little bit of a naff song, but it's just quite interesting to listen to. Similarly, this was pretty good to listen to every now and again, but I imagine at the time might have gone on your nerves if it was on the radio all the time. That's Mason Williams and Classical Gas. So yeah, so on the Warner Brothers label there. Some more surf. So this is the Cougars and Saturday Night at the Duck Pond, backed with See You in Dreamland. So it's instrumental surf style. So what I can gather, they were from Bristol. This is from 63. Yeah, most of them were sort of 62, 63, 64, these singles. So they weren't quite, hadn't quite reached that kind of period in the 60s where I think are more interesting to me. But yeah, I think these are from Bristol. They put a few singles out. Instrumentals, say they sound very surfy, and then on the back they're joined by Chris Collins, who was a vocalist. So from what I can understand, they used to perform on the circuit and add Chris Collins when they were performing live to put some vocals on top of their instrumentation. And then finally, in this sort of 10 that I'm showing here, Jet Harris doing the main title theme from The Man with a Golden Arm, which I think that film originally was a Frank Sinatra film, I believe, and they've done a cover it. So why they've done that, I don't know. But Jet Harris, the bass sort of going, and then on the B side, I found sort of mildly interesting. Some People by Jet Harris, and he actually sings on this, and he sounds like an inferior Cliff Richard, which I thought was fairly interesting. So there was 10 of the 60 things that I picked up. As I said, nothing to blow your socks off, but they were less than 20 pence each. So, and even if I reused some of the company sleeves on the other ones, worth having. Okay, so I went back to the markets. I showed some records where I picked up some albums from the market store where he got a really good collection of records in. So he priced up now some of the singles, and I thought I'll have a look through there, and picked a few up. So I went back a week or two ago, it might have been a week ago. I bought some albums again from him, but I bought a few singles as well. So the first one was cheap, it was only a couple of pounds, was a Bert Jansch EP. It's from 66. So this kind of takes selections from a couple of his albums. So the self-titled Bert Jansch album that's got a similar cover to this has got 3 tracks on it, and then there's a couple from a couple of instrumentals from his album It Don't Bother Me. Yeah, so it's got The Needle of Death. It's called The Needle of Death EP, and it's got Needle of Death, which is kind of one of his famous tracks that's on his self-titled album about a friend of his who succumbed to drugs and died from drug overdose. And then he had quite a few, well, almost like a complete set of Jam singles, but he wanted quite a lot for them. I ended up in the deal getting them from a reasonable price. I still think I kind of paid top dollar for them, but they were there. You don't see them every day, and I wanted them, so I paid for them. So yeah, these were 4 that were kind of filling gaps that I didn't have of jam singles, and they're in quite nice picture sleeves. So there's In the City, Taking My Love was the first one. The Modern World was the second one that I picked up. They've all got a little bit of tape, sort of like masking tape on them though. They must have been stuck to a wall or something, but I can get that off with my Goo Gone at some point. And then the two that I really wanted to get on in the picture sleeves, I've already got this on, you know, without the picture sleeve, is Going Underground and Down in the Tube Station at Midnight. So yeah, so a few jam singles. I left quite a few behind. In hindsight, I probably should have tried to bung them in for the deal as well. So yeah, there's just a few things, sort of slightly different finds video of used CDs and used 7-inch singles. Okay, VC, cheers, bye.